church, Pastor here. It's time for another Wednesday Wi-Fi. How is your divine connection? And today, we've been outside, it snowed, my family and I were shoveling, and then we were playing in the snow, sledding, and we're celebrating Izzy's birthday, just having fun outside. It's been a great day. But being outside so much today in this just sort of awe-inspiring, snowy sort of atmosphere, it got me thinking about how incredible God is to think up creation, how everything began in his mind, and he just designed with such precision and such beauty the earth and the world in which we live and the universe and the stars, and how much it comes up in scripture, really, even that in God's holy word he saw fit to include talking about his creative handiwork. We see in John chapter 1 he talks about everything that was made began in the mind of God. He thought it up and he created it. In Romans it says that creation and nature actually will leave people without excuse, that they'll have to look at the stars and the creation and the handiwork of God and say, okay, somebody created this. Somebody designed this. There's no way this just happened. There's no way this was just happenstance. There is a designer. Jesus himself talked about creation. He said, look around you. Look at the lilies of the field. He's trying to express to them why not to be anxious. And he's like telling them, don't be worried, don't be anxious. Look at the lilies of the field. They neither toiled nor spin, and yet they are arrayed with more beauty than Solomon in everything that he had. He says, look at the sparrows. They neither gather in barns or anything like that. They don't sow, they don't reap, and yet they're provided for in every way. He's trying to point them to nature. And out of that, I think about from the skies that it says that the heavens declare the glory of God, all the way down to the rocks, whom Jesus said, if you don't praise me, they'll cry out. And in fact, this week in Joshua chapter 24, we're going to see where he uses an inanimate object in nature, a rock, and he says, this rock will serve as a witness. And so in light of all that, it pointed me to one truth found in nature that I love so much, and that's in Isaiah chapter 1, where he says, though your sin be as scarlet, I will make it white as snow. And what a beautiful principle to think of, just polar opposites, where you can feel so stained from something and so marked by something like sin, and then God to come in and say, you know what, I know it looks so stained and so crimson and so just tarnishing every part of your life, but I'm gonna take that thing and I'm gonna make it so pure you'll never even know it existed. And I looked around at all the snow and I thought, wow, to think of something like red and crimson and just unable to be removed. And then God says, no, I have a supernatural ability to remove sin, to remove the stain and the sting and the ramifications of sin, all because Jesus died on the cross for you and for me. And because of him, he takes our sin that seems so scarlet and so stained, and he makes it white as snow. And so at some point, maybe you just go find a really, really bright spot of snow and just look at it and think to yourself, I'm as pure as this snow in the eyes of God because of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Here's your sermon in 60 seconds. We just wrapped up Joshua chapter 23. What a tremendous weekend. What a tremendous chapter. We're winding down. It's the end of Joshua's life, and he knows it. He tells the people, I'm old. It's time to move along with this. And as we talked about Sunday, when you know your time is drawing short, you tend to really emphasize what matters the most. And to them, it was, listen, know what God has said, walk it out, love the Lord your God, cling to him. And we talked about just really doing the basics. And I really pray and hope that you looked at the 9 fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. That you took those 9 fruit of the Spirit and you wrote those 9 fruit of the Spirit down, and you looked at them and said, okay, God, help me to be more loving. Help me to have joy in a time when it can be sort of a bummer to be in New England. Help me to have peace in an anxious world and not get caught up in all the anxieties of this life. And onward we go into the fruit of the Spirit. And I do pray genuinely that you did that and that you do apply just those fundamentals. If you do that, you'll go a long way in your walk of faith and in shining as a light, a bright light into the hurting world around you. And then lastly, we talked about how their covenant and our covenant are 2 different ones. And that kind of circles us back around to where we began, where our sin is white as snow. He makes it white as snow. And that is because of our covenant. We don't have to wait for some second judgment. Christ took the full payment, the full judgment of God upon him, so that through his sacrifice, we could be made right in the eyes of God. And when God looks upon you, looks upon me, he sees his son, Jesus. Have a tremendous day. This weekend, we cover the last chapter, chapter 24. I love you, church. God bless you.